The man who played as the sea took him a true story of music, courage, and one final act of grace aboard the Titanic. Wallace Hartley wasn't born into fame. He was born into a modest family in Colne, Lancashire, England, the son of a chapel choirmaster. Music was in his blood, but not in his future, at least not at first. His father wanted him to pursue a stable career in insurance. Wallace had other plans. He studied violin. He played in local orchestras. He toured with opera companies. And eventually, he joined the Cunard Line as a ship musician, performing aboard luxury liners like the Lusitania and Mauretania. Then came the Titanic. Just one day before its maiden voyage, Wallace was asked to transfer from the Mauretania to become the bandmaster aboard the RMS Titanic. He hesitated. He had just spent time with his fiancée, Maria Robinson, and they were planning to marry that summer. But the Titanic was the grandest ship ever built, a career-defining opportunity. He said yes. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic set sail from Southampton. Wallace led a band of 8 musicians. They played during meals, in lounges, and on deck, a soundtrack to luxury. Passengers described the music as elegant, soothing, and ever-present. Then, 4 days later, disaster struck. At 11:40 p.m. on April 14th, the Titanic hit an iceberg. The ship shuddered. Steel tore. Water rushed in. Panic spread. Passengers scrambled. Officers shouted orders. And Wallace Hartley made a choice. He gathered his band. They walked to the first-class lounge and began to play. No one told them to. They simply knew, music could calm the chaos. As lifeboats were lowered and the ship began to tilt, the band moved to the forward deck. They played ragtime, waltzes, hymns. Some survivors recalled the haunting sound of "Nearer, My God, to Thee" as the final song. Wallace and his musicians played until the very end. None of them survived. 3 weeks later, Wallace's body was recovered from the icy Atlantic. He was still in uniform. His music case was strapped to his back. His funeral in Colne drew over 20,000 mourners. He was buried with honors, his violin laid to rest beside him. Years later, that same violin, water-stained, fragile, and historic, was discovered and authenticated. It sold at auction for £900,000, the highest price ever paid for Titanic memorabilia. But Wallace Hartley's true legacy isn't in the violin. It's in the silence that followed his final note. In the face of death, Wallace Hartley chose dignity. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He played. And in doing so, he gave the world one last moment of grace before the sea claimed it all.